Our industry is obsessed with chasing unicorns and getting high compensations. But how did three tech veterans defy this trend and successfully build a seven-figure business based entirely by burning this culture down? What's up, guys? I'm YZ. Today, I'm with Austin, Jesse, and Nikita, the three founders of the most satirical show in Silicon Valley.
This is good technology.
The Tech Roast Show. We are here to discuss not only their success and journey, but the absurdity they find in today's tech environment. How they blend their passion for comedy with calling out that absurdity.
There was a department in Meta that was essentially entirely tech roast. They had a whole tech roast division. So we just took that, carved it out, and turned it into our own.
And turning it into a money-making machine. We also have a deeper conversation about the safety net that allowed them to start their own thing and chase their dream.
I was supported by my parents and my family for the first 4 years of doing stand-up, and they allowed me to mostly financially depend on them. I was making a tiny bit of money, but I was not making a living, and without that, I would not have been able to practice comedy the way I did.
Here is the full conversation.
So I want to ask you the question. You posted just a story. Ironically, software is now more unstable than comedian.
Ironically, the software job market is less stable than comedy?
Yes.
I think I posted that.
I see. I think there was a point when it certainly felt that way. I don't know if it was factually true. My guess is when the big wave, one of the big waves of layoffs was
comedy
happening,
is more stable than software.
you made the joke that comedy is more stable.
Yeah, but I think the other piece is you must have grown your business so well that this feels like a legit business and feels stable. And I don't think many people have that perspective.
It does not feel like a legit business. It is a legit business, but it rarely feels that way. I think because what we do is so fundamentally absurd. We are trying to build a company that has employees and real responsibility in the world. So as of right now, we have 3 full-time employees. Brendan does production and a lot of the logistics, and he is sort of building out our long-form content branch of the company.
And to clarify, that's 3 full-time employees that are not part of the 4 equal owners of the company. So there's 7 in total.
There's another producer who's a part of the company who's not here right now, who is he's an equal partner of them 3, and he's my most direct boss because he's the other producer. They're the talent, the pretty faces of the company.
The structure of the company is sort of a board of 4 co-owners, directors, and we started the company together, and we've been doing, I joined a year into the company's existence. They started it together. We did the show for a few years, and finally, I think 1 year ago or so, we were finally in a position to hire some people full-time to scale the show up and to make more content and to just streamline what we're doing. Brendan is the first person we hired who is currently with the company, and since then we hired 2 more people. So it's a total of 7 people working on the company full-time.
And then we have a various chain of vendors and people we work with in part-time capacity.
Oh yeah, how much is that?
There's
how much expense is going to the vendors?
I don't know how much expenses, but we probably have 10 to 20 people we work with.
There's videographers, photographers, there's people who, there's ushers in different cities, there's people who help us with logistics, and it's a lot of people depending on the needs. There's a friend of ours is helping with the India tour, to navigate the whole thing. There's a lot of people we regularly work with, but there's
all I can say is we are a proud 7-figure business.
It's a 7-figure business with 7 people on the permanent. So once we get to 8 figures, we're gonna hire 1 more person.
Nice. Comedians can be a real career. That was new, to me. Was that is a passion, or you want to pursue the career? And when did you realize, okay, we need to start a company and to do this more regularly?
So we were all pretty high up at Meta, and what we found was that the tools that we're using internally at Meta are going to sell for a pretty penny on the open market.
There was a department in Meta that was essentially entirely tech roast. They had a whole tech roast division. So we just took that, carved it out, and turned it into our own.
If we grab this thing
and
we run real fast, and then we very quickly start and scale a company just selling them to whoever wants to buy them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we did. I took Austin under this arm, Nikita under this arm, and I went like this. And I ran out the door.
We didn't know what was happening. But then when we came to, we were a completely different company. I mean, we had a different name, same product, different name though.
Many people do not like their job, but they're afraid to take a leap. When you start a company, you must have taken a leap of faith.
Yeah. So in terms of like leaving a big tech job and making a jump like that, I think at the time of Tech Roast Show starting, well, none of us actually did it then, but I think my experience is pretty close to that because I was working at Microsoft. I left we were doing it for
At least
3 years.
At least 3 years.
Actually, 3 years. We really
Before
weren't
Killer.
making much money, but I started building up like side income streams to like cushion my fall from grace when I leave.
Like what?
Real estate, Airbnb, and rental property. Had some income offsetting my expenses, and then it was actually a really interesting time for Tech Roast Show because it was a year after COVID when this happened, and we weren't able to do any shows. But there was a silver lining in that the government was offering grants to entertainment companies that couldn't operate during COVID.
Yeah.
And we got about $40,000 from the federal government that we did not have to pay back. So that, in addition to some of like making some money on TikTok and then offsetting my expenses with rental income, I was like, oh, this is the best time ever to do this because we actually had a good amount of money to invest in rents for shows.
I wasn't as diligent with my savings. Back then, I just quit my job, made no money, lived with my parents for 7 years, didn't spend any money. And I just waited for this to work.
You know, my story is I don't pretend to have gone through some like unusual amount of struggle, but as an immigrant and non-native speaker of English, it wasn't easy to like get into comedy and to like even consider the possibility of going on stage and performing in a language that's not my own. So I think that I hope that to the immigrants in our audience, at least, that's something.
When I talk in Chinese, I'm much more fluent, but when in English, I feel...
God, we look so mean now.
What the hell?
I was in an extremely privileged position of having gone to a U.S. college, and I got to learn the language that way. That helped a huge amount. My wife just pushed me to do comedy for months and months because we grew up in Russia where there was no stand-up. Stand-up did not exist. Did make $400,000 through GameStop, and that paid for the portion of the apartment that I own. And I don't own the full thing. So yeah, answering that question without acknowledging the privilege that allows that is bad. But I think it's a relevant part of how we were able to.
I was just answering the question for me.
Same. All I'm saying is I lived with my parents for 7 years, and and totally get that that's a luxury. Not everybody can live with their parents for 7 years.
Not everyone can have an Airbnb.
But my parents had an extra room.
I was supported by my parents and my family for the first like 4 years of doing stand-up. I lived in Seattle, and they allowed me to mostly financially depend on them. I was making a tiny bit of money, but I was not making a living. And without that, I would not have been able to practice comedy the way I did.
I think the privilege is important because your audience, especially those people who get to work in tech, we all have privilege. We all have a high-paying job. Still, like, ask the question of why. Like, what made your passion into action?
Like insecurity and fear of the life that I would have if I just did.
When I joined Microsoft, I had this fear in my head because I didn't want to go to Seattle. I thought it was really depressing. And when I got this job at Microsoft, I had this fear of looking at the middle managers who would just like come to work every day in Sammamish and like just be super excited about feature flags and stuff. Pick up their son or daughter at like swim practice every day and just like their whole life was Microsoft. And I thought it would be the saddest thing if I stayed in Seattle.
What about you?
I could definitely imagine more pain than a high-paying job at Microsoft in Seattle. I don't think I was avoiding something. My background is different. Austin and Jesse both worked actual corporate positions at tech companies. My background in tech was spending 2 years working on a solo game development project, except I wasn't trying to rely on natural language prompting because AIs didn't exist back then. So I was doing it by teaching myself to code, working on this VR game project. It was a very lonely process, and while it was creatively fulfilling to some degree, it was something that I didn't know how to share with people. And then when my wife pushed me to start doing stand-up, the pull of that was just so much stronger because there is a community in comedy, and there is an immediate feedback loop. comedy gave me something that just pulled me much more than what I was doing in tech. And also, the parts that I was excited about in game development are actually still things that I get to do for Tech Roast Show, because we develop custom software for our show, and some of it includes interactive games, and yeah.
And that wraps our conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and let me know in the comments who should I interview next. See you next time.